Hi, good evening. Thanks for stopping by and looking at my Facebook page. I am Edward Crouch. I am Councillor for Worthing Marine Ward, member of the Planning and Joint Planning Committee and member of the Joint Overview and Scrutiny Committee for Ada and Worthing councils. And this is a slightly belated update on the most recent Joint Overview and Scrutiny Committee meeting. Oh, I just got rid of everything off my screen. The meeting was last week and it was on the 3rd of July. And yeah, I just wanted to, following on from the last meeting, the last planning meeting video, I wanted to do this so that you know what I'm up to with my fabulous colleagues on Worthing, Ada and Worthing Borough Council. I'll keep it short and sweet. I'll try and keep it under 5 minutes because, let's be honest, you don't listen to me going on for hours. Okay, so one of the questions that came up, the first bit of the meeting was interviews with council leaders. So that's Councillor Paul Yallop with the Borough Council and Councillor Neil Parkin for Ada District Council. And part of what Joint Overview and Scrutiny do is they get to interview cabinet members, so people who spend the money, council leaders who are in charge of the council, and basically scrutinise what the council is doing. It's supposed to be non-political and to actually act as a bit of a watchdog for how council money is spent. So if something's looking a bit iffy, the Joint Overview and Scrutiny Committee can call it in and go through it, so that it's all open and transparent. So there were a number of questions that were asked of the leaders. I'll try and focus on the Worthing stuff rather than the Ada stuff because I'm a Worthing Borough Councillor. Theatres. A member asked Paul Yallop about theatres. Now, although it's not his particular area, there's a particular person, which is Councillor Mary Lermit, who looks after theatres. He did answer some questions that have been in the media about the cost of the theatres. A figure's been sort of bandied around of £5,000 a day to run the theatres. That figure apparently is inaccurate, as it includes a large sort of amount of money that's kind of like, if you divide up all of the money that the council spends on buildings and such like, some of that figure would be in there. So actually the figure is wrong, but they are costing money, and there is work to be done, I think, on trying to get the budget under control so that they're at least covering their own costs and hopefully making a profit. The Joint Overview and Scrutiny Committee have set up a little group to look at that, so hopefully that'll be investigated and actually where the money is going, whether it's on maintenance, whether it's on heating, whether it's on whatever, that will be understood. And I'm quite passionate about the theatres. I think they're a fantastic thing for us to have. We don't want to lose them. I kind of do think that actually the arts generally are subsidised, so I don't have a problem with some money being put towards subsidising the cost of them, but we can't afford to spend all the money on that and nothing on everything else, so it's a balance. Parking, some great news on parking, my pet subject. Usage is up 24%, so I'm told, in the multi-storey car parks, which is absolutely fantastic news. And there was an amount of money that was put aside before the for the trial, the use or lose it £1 an hour trial, and apparently that's not actually being used. So no council tax money has been spent on subsidising it because the increased number of cars going in and using it means that it's not actually being subsidised, which is absolutely fantastic news. And the trial has been extended for a further 3 months. Paul Yallop says it's looking positive so far. Early days yet, obviously. They need to understand the business. But it's looking good. People are flooding in, was the quote that is in there. And as far as season tickets, there was some criticism on social media about season ticket prices going up. Some did go up. That's a fact, but they went up to be all the same price. Apparently there were some sort of deals that the previous operator had done where one business would be paying half of that of the business next door. So they've all been put up to the same level, which is, I guess, the fairest way to do it. But all things are considered. I had remember the public emailed me and asked whether or not Worthing would consider free parking on a Sunday. And I spoke to the particular cabinet member who looks after parking, and the answer was, well, nothing's off the table, but they need to understand the business and see how it can all work. The mayor's car came up. There's a cost associated with the mayor's car. That is something that would be scrutinised because it's seen as a bit of a luxury. Again, personally, I kind of feel that our mayor does a huge amount of work for for the town. It goes to 700 events a year, and I kind of am of the opinion that he should have, or she, should have some transport. At the moment it's a second-hand Skoda, I think, and I think that he's right that our mayor has some way of getting to and from official engagements, especially as the mayor doesn't get a particularly generous salary or allowance for doing the work that he does. So that will come up, but obviously, again, it's all a balancing act. You can't afford to spend too much on the luxuries when the important things need to be paid for as well. I asked a question about, I'll keep this brief, about external funding. Whenever I go abroad, in northern France, every street lamp, bit of green space is funded by the EU symbol or other. And I asked Paul Yallop what we're doing in Worthing to get more funding. We have an external funding officer, apparently, and he or she has their job is to seek external funding. So apparently the Maybridge Community Centre in Durrington has got some external funding. 2 or 3 years ago, got £180,000 from the European Union for another project. There's lots. I've got a whole list of here. Brighton Hove City Region, Regional Growth Fund, and we've also got a £5 million bid in for some sustainable development money. So there's lots of things apparently that are going on to get more external funding in. Public health was also a big agenda item, big thick piece of paper to do with public health. There's a plan. People are getting iller and fatter and generally less well, but the plan is to put more power into the local authority. And there's a really interesting document about how Worthing Borough Council, Ada and Worthing Council are planning on addressing it. So that was really interesting. Very early stages, but it's just a plan, really, as how to what can be done to increase people's health in Worthing. There are some other issues to do with council IT. There are some issues there. The general public may not experience it, but there's been some issues with IT that are being looked at. And there's also a plan for, I think, what's called individual voter registration, which means that I think, as the name suggests, people have to register to vote individually rather than it sort of being done on a household automatically. So that's quite an important thing coming forwards. And where are we? Play streets as well. I'm not quite sure how that actually got mentioned, but I think that was an example of when roads can be closed to be used as play streets. I think a lot of people held street parties for the Jubilee and what have you. I think it's a case of encouraging people to do that and actually get rid of some of the red tape and actually get people out engaging with their own communities and good for community cohesion and all that wonderful stuff. So forgive me if that was a little bit rambly, a little bit ad hoc. It was the first joint overview and scrutiny meeting I attended. It was good, and I look forward to scrutinising more stuff, I guess. I think it's one of these things that it's really important that you, anyone who's watching this, realises what goes on. And there's this sort of myth that local politics is all a gravy train and everyone's sort of expenses and it's all in it for yourself. But I think the Joint Overview and Scrutiny Committee kind of demonstrates actually that even decisions that are made by the council are then scrutinised by another bit of the council for transparency. So any questions, do post them or message me on this page. I'll be happy to answer them. And yes, the next meeting I think is in a couple of months' time, no, end of the month. And the next video I imagine I will do will be following the next planning meeting. I haven't seen an agenda for that yet, but there we are. Anyway, not exactly 5 minutes, I do apologise, but thank you for listening. If you have listened all the way to the end, well done. If you haven't, thanks for giving up on me. Anyway, thank you for stopping by. Have a great evening. Any questions, post them down below. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. See ya.